Last season of The Masked Singer, I organized my thoughts on the same exact topic of the top 10 best performances, and I was able to come up with those cumulatively without having to go back and look after the season was over. If you remember earlier last season, I did a top 10 Masked Singer performances of all time, and by last season, I mean last season of my show, not last season of Masked Singer. But, I did a top 10 Masked Singer performances of all time. And even though some of the performances listed here in this video might break that list, I'm not going to go through that work just yet, but I might make an updated version not very soon, but soon. Anyways, let's get on with the list. Another thing quick is if my voice sounds weird to you, which it probably will, it's because just today, I got my braces off, so I am wearing currently a retainer, and in the next video I make that I will show my face, you will see that, and it is a little bit difficult to talk. I will admit it'll take some getting used to, but that's just something you'll have to listen to for a bit. Serpent Sings The Bones by Maren Morris, a worthy follow-up to his first performance. Serpent Sings Cool by the Jonas Brothers, not a terrible final performance for Serpent, just okay. Jellyfish Sings Don't Stop Now by Dua Lipa. I don't know what it is about it, but I find this song pretty catchy, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it. So I enjoyed this performance a lot, and surprisingly found myself rewatching it. Mushroom Sings Unconditionally by Katy Perry. If you didn't love this performance, then you're Lil Wayne. See what I did there? And finally, Crocodile Sings Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis. Crocodile's metaphorical glow-up of the show. I wouldn't say that how much I like the actual song determines how much I like the performance, typically on this show. As a matter of fact, I'd say the opposite. I can think of a lot of songs that I liked better after seeing them on The Masked Singer. I like George Michael's music, and when I found out Baby Alien was doing Faith, I was pretty stoked. Now, this performance is far from perfect, but it's just so irresistible on so many levels. Baby Alien is just an adorable mask, like Rogue Who. Also, this performance feels seemingly long, but not necessarily in a bad way. Whether takes a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you the door, 'cause I gotta have faith. Ooh, I gotta have faith. I can stay awake just to hear you breathing. One of the later performances on my top 10, as I will admit a lot of the performances on here happened earlier in the season. This song was perfect for Croc. It almost wasn't fair for Seahorse as they went up against each other in the Super 6. Another reason I love this performance so much was because, once again, I was pretty familiar with the song. Armageddon is one of my, well, I guess I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's on my favorite movies list, but it's like 30 movies long and it's near the bottom, but it makes sense, so I'm definitely very well aware of the Aerosmith bop, and it was just a very enjoyable song beginning to end. And also, I believe it was Badger performed this on Masked Singer UK like last week, and he did a really good job. Not as good as Croc, but it was pretty good too. By far the best opening number to start a season, only rivaled by Peacock's rendition of This Is the Greatest Show all the way back in season 1, but even then, I think this one's better than that. From the first few notes, you can tell Sun isn't taking her mask off for a long time. Everything about the performance was excellent. LeAnn Rimes didn't try too much to sound like Lizzo, and this performance is just so fun beginning to end. Also, I genuinely believe that deep down, everyone loves Lizzo, even if they act indifferent or even verbalize some opposition to her. She's like Beyonce. You can't not like her music. Also, I kind of put the fact that this was LeAnn Rimes puts a bit of a feather in my cap, because I'm not saying I genuinely guessed it was LeAnn Rimes. I don't know how LeAnn Rimes sounded. All I know is that people on YouTube, like, right after this episode, were like, oh my god, that's LeAnn Rimes, and then I looked up a video of her singing, and I was like, yeah, that's her, but one of the best performances. Like, it's just such a good performance.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself.
Is this Mushroom's best performance? It's hard to tell when all of his performances were stellar. I enjoyed this one the most, however. It's also a pretty hard-to-hate song. Valerie's a, pretty irresistible song. And it's a lot more lighthearted than the other songs she sung. If I Could Turn Back Time, This Woman's Working Unconditionally are all much more serious songs. And this one was, had real Walking on Sunshine vibes, if you know what I mean. Also, this was a song that sounded the least like Aloe Black, with the exception of his first performance, because in that one, it sounded like he inhaled helium before coming on stage. So neither songs helped with my not knowing it was Aloe Black incident, which I'm still very embarrassed at myself.
Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Hey! Why don't you come on over? Say something, I'm giving up on you.
Snow throughout their time were pretty good, but their first performance really made me think they could go relatively far. Their voices were this beautiful mix of seasoned yet somewhat young and youthful, and this first performance I really loved by them. They did the impossible. They made me somewhat like this song, and I've always hated this song because it was always playing on the radio in 2013, and I'm not even kidding. It would play, and then they'd go to ad break, and then it would play again, and it was so annoying. Anyways.
And I will stumble and fall. Baby, can't you see I'm calling?
Toxic is another one of those songs where there's just something about it that anyone can find a way to appreciate it. It's the epitome of a guilty pleasure song, yet when you think about it, any pleasure can be a guilty pleasure if you're self-conscious about it. Anyways, I found several things to appreciate about this performance. Croc has some pretty sick moves, and the set down is minimalist, yet gets the point across. I also give props to Nick Carter, because I can't fathom a guy singing that high without tearing his vocal cords to shreds. The other great thing about this performance is that the entire time he sings in kind of an odd way, and then for the final part of the song he sings in his regular voice, and it's kind of a nice surprise.
Intoxicating now. With your love now, I think I'm ready now. Oh yeah, intoxicating now. With your love now, I think I'm ready. Don't you know that you're toxic? What the? I wish I was a little bit.
The funny thing is, this was one of the performances they teased us with a little bit of before the season even began, along with Serpent's 500 Miles and Sun's 'Cause I Love You. And I'll be honest, I laughed at Watcha because I thought he'd be a goner right away. He was rapping, which only really works if you're a frog, and he was nowhere to Frog's level at first. But then I actually watched the episode, and I really loved the performance. Watcha had great moves, and I loved Lonzo Ball's voice. Just trying to hear Watcha's voice singing the song in my head brings back memories of late summer to early fall of 2020. It was a big time for me because it was the beginning of my freshman year in high school, and all of it was in the middle of this crazy pandemic. Not only that, but I genuinely liked the song itself. I'll admit I heard about it from the show, but not many rap songs have child-friendly themes and language. So when I pulled the song up on YouTube, there were so many kids commenting saying, "I'm 12 and this song is awesome." What's brilliant about I Wish is that all it's about is wanting to have something you don't mainly being with someone that might not be interested in you. Wanting to be with someone that's not interested in you. And that's something that applies to people of all ages, but I mean, now I'm just talking about the song.
Wish I was a little bit taller, wish I was a baller. Wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her. Wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6-4 Impala.
For the broken-hearted.
Now, looking back, not many other first performances captured the whimsy of their mask's journey. Like when Sun and Serpent first opened their mouths, you knew they were gonna make it far. But with Croc, I wasn't sure when I first heard him. He was obviously good, but I didn't get winner vibes from him. If I had to pick a previous mask that was most like Croc, I'd probably say Rottweiler. And yeah, it's pretty bold comparing Croc to Rot, but keep in mind, there was just a difference of one placement between the two on their respective seasons, with Rottweiler being runner-up and Croc being third place. Croc's performances just got better over time, but personally, this is my favorite of his. It showcases his singing style and vocal range very well, and it's just a bop in general.
It's my life. It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever.
Okay, before I go into number 2, into this next number, I need to explain this placement a little. Full disclosure, the number 2 spot on my top 10 performances might be a bit of a shocker, because I picked a performance from a mask who barely lived to see the light of day, whereas all the other people on this list made it decently far. And to be honest, a good chunk of the early Boots performances were memorable in their own right, with Gremlin taking his mask off without having the least votes, to Lip straight up snorting in the middle of her song. But no, I picked a rather poetic performance. It was one that built this mask up only for his next performance to tear him down. And if you haven't figured it out already, I'm talking about Giraffe's Week 1 performance of Let's Get It Started by the Black Eyed Peas.
And the bass keep running, running, and running, running, and running, running, and running, running.
This was one of the first performances ever this season. The first episode, I think, like, the second overall performance right after Sun. And there's just something very special about this performance. It's just fun, and if I'm being honest, Giraffe wasn't that bad of a singer in this. I mean, he was rapping, but you know what I mean. I had somewhat high expectations from going forward, as a matter of fact. Of course, that didn't end well, but his singing in this song was actually pretty good. Just personally one of my favorites. Call it, like I've said earlier, a guilty pleasure, if you will.
Let's get into it. Let's get stupid. Get it started. Get it started. Get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
And the best Masked Singer for performance is...
When I wake up.
Remember how I talked in the last Masked Singer performance ranking video I did, how when Turtle started singing, it immediately sent chills down my spine? Well, that's the same thing that happened when I saw Serpent's first performance. His voice was soft and syrupy like honey, and that was an interesting take on the song, especially considering that the original singers, you know, had Irish accents. So the song was sung much differently this time. And it's kind of an interesting and a cool take on it. I don't know, this was just the performance that gives the tingly feeling I've associated with the best performance of the season. There's not really a good way to explain it, it's just so good. Like, if I'm being honest, like, yeah, like, it's just so good. Like, there's no way, I can't even really explain why it is so good. All I know is that when I saw Sundu Cause I Love You, sing Cause I Love You, and I was like, that's the winner. The next episode, I saw this. I get thrown a curveball, and I go, oh, no, Serpent's gonna win. And now that didn't go very well, but that's what I thought.
Just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. And I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more. To be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your But I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more.
Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I also want to give a little shout out to the people that have been subscribing. Like my channel's kind of, I wouldn't say it's blown up, but there's a video that I've gotten that's almost to like 1,500 views. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I've also gone up. Thank you to all the people who have subscribed to me in the past like month. It's been really appreciated. I love all the support that I can get. And then, as for what you can expect to see on this channel next, for those who are a little bit sick of Masked Singer videos, even though they've been trending on my channel recently, for those who are getting sick of them, you're in luck, though, because the next video will be, it will be a two-parter, probably, and it'll be on Survivor Amazon. Yeah, I'll probably split it into 2 parts, unless maybe if I get done filming the first part and realize I have enough time to make the second part and it won't be that long, then maybe I'll do that. But I don't know. Expect to see 2 videos, and they'll probably get released pretty close to each other, and there won't be any videos in between. So besides that, I'll see you later.